He's Thundarr, I'm E-Lightning, and this is Sports Storm.
Today we will be doing our NBA mock draft 4.0, so let's get right into it. Who do you have the Philadelphia 76ers selecting with the number one overall selection?
Ben Simmons, nothing changed. Best player in the draft. I don't care that he doesn't really help the three-point need. He's the best player in the draft. You make him fit your system.
Actually, at number one, I am still taking Brandon Ingram, like in the last video. He's more versatile than Ben Simmons, so I think they need that three-point shooting. But Brandon Ingram delivers that more than Ben Simmons. Who do you have at number two, the Los Angeles Lakers selecting?
Brandon Ingram, I think whoever Philadelphia doesn't select, the Lakers will select. I mean, the future big three we've talked about so much. Brandon Ingram is going to be a pure scorer that helps them immediately and could even develop further. This is a good pick for the Lakers if he falls to them.
Yeah, I think either way the Lakers are a winner here. They get Brandon Ingram or Ben Simmons. I haven't getting Ben Simmons, former teammates with D'Angelo Russell. I think he's a perfect fit. Well, Lakers have a good foundation to build off of. Who do you have at number three, the Boston Celtics selecting?
I have the Boston Celtics selecting Buddy Hield. They need a superstar and a drive and dish partner for Isaiah Thomas. That's what I think really hurt them in the playoffs this year. You see so many times he broke down the defense and then kick it out to nobody. So I feel like he fixed the superstar need and the drive and dish, and that's why I'm selecting Buddy Hield.
At number three, I have the Boston Celtics selecting Dragan Bender. I feel like whoever they select here will extremely change who gets selected in the later picks. But I haven't taken Dragan Bender because they have a glaring three-point need, and they don't really have a front court go-to scorer. This is a big risk-reward selection, but I think if you're Boston, you have to go for it. Who do you have at number four, the Phoenix Suns selecting?
Dragan Bender. They need a front court player, and they also need kind of a three-point shooter. They can kind of kill two birds with one stone here, and that's why I had them selecting Dragan Bender.
Number four, I have Phoenix selecting Jaylen Brown. I think for Phoenix you have to go best player available, not necessarily best front court player available, whether that be Dragan Bender or Jaylen Brown here. But I haven't taken Jaylen Brown at four, defensive 3-and-D wing. But you have at number five, the Minnesota Timberwolves selecting.
I have the Minnesota Timberwolves selecting Jamal Murray. Still, they need a scorer, and that'll be lethal with Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, Ricky Rubio. That starting lineup will put fear into the hearts of lineups everywhere.
Number five, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves selecting Henry Ellenson. Some people may think that's a reach, but I think they have two needs. That's a guard and a stretch four, and I think Henry Ellenson would totally fit the bill. Reminds me of a Kevin Love. I think I'm one of the higher. Well, I think highly of him. But I have him going to number five to Minnesota. They need stretch four. He fits the system. Who do you have at number six, the New Orleans Pelicans selecting?
The combination of a good point guard with Anthony Davis, I think, could be lethal. And with Drew Holiday switching to shooting guard and Tyreke Evans at the small forward position, getting a true point guard, the best point guard in the draft, would be very beneficial to them here.
Wait, who? You never said the name of the point
guard. Chris Dunn, sorry. Chris Dunn. The best point guard in the draft, Chris Dunn. He'd be lethal, as I said.
All right, number six, I have the anonymous point guard, Chris Dunn, going to the Pelicans. Pick and roll partner for Anthony Davis. Drew Holiday's moving over to shooting guard, just like you said. Perfect fit here in New Orleans. Who do you have at number seven, the Denver Nuggets selecting?
I have the Denver Nuggets selecting Jaylen Brown. I think he'd be a great pick. He's kind of like the anti-Gallinari in a good way. And he's probably the most talented player on the board at this point in my draft, and that's what the Denver really needs right now.
Number seven, I have Denver selecting Jamal Murray. I think they'd go crazy if Jamal Murray's still available at this point. Pair him up next to Emmanuel Mudiay in the backcourt. That's going to be lethal in the future. Who do you have at number eight, the Sacramento Kings selecting?
At number eight, I have the Sacramento Kings getting Timothy Luwawu, kind of a high-risk reward here. If he pans out, you get a really good athletic wing that you desperately need to go to help you with Ben McLemore or Marco Bellinelli woes. If he doesn't, you just get a kind of bad player that you reached on.
Yeah. Number eight, I have Sacramento taking Buddy Hield. Again, this is a team. If Buddy Hield or Jamal Murray falls to them here at number eight, you have to go for it. They have a glaring need at shooting guard and a stretch four, but I think Ben McLemore and Marco Bellinelli are your shooting guards right now, and that's not going to work out for you. So if you get Jamal Murray or Buddy Hield here, that's amazing, or you could go for a Timothy Luwawu. Who do you have at number nine, the Toronto Raptors selecting?
I have the Toronto Raptors selecting Jakob Poeltl. He's kind of the yin to Jonas Valanciunas' yang. Well, Jonas Valanciunas is a more offensive-minded center. Jakob Poeltl is one of the more sure things in this draft. He immediately comes in, and you get defense. And that's what the Raptors really need, defense up front, so they don't get torched by opposing bigs in the East.
I have the Toronto Raptors selecting Domantas Sabonis out of Gonzaga. I think he offers a little bit of defense, but he's going to replace Luis Scola in that offense as the starting four. I think he can be even better than Scola, better rebounder and scorer. So I think Toronto needs a sure thing here. You could definitely argue for Jacob Poeltl. Who do you have at number 10? The Milwaukee Bucks selecting.
I have the Milwaukee Bucks selecting Domantas Sabonis. I think the Greg Monroe experiment there has definitely not worked. They need to look to get rid of him as soon as possible and get another scoring, rebounding big. I feel like Domantas Sabonis could be the heir to kind of Greg Monroe and actually be a better piece in that offense. Now we know that Giannis Antetokounmpo switched to point guard, kind of relieving that need a little bit, and that the offense is not going to be there, but it could be closer with Domantas Sabonis.
At number 10, I have Milwaukee selecting Timothy Luwawu. Like you said, very athletic, 3-and-D wing. Reminds me of a lot. He could potentially develop into an Andre Iguodala or a Nicholas Batum. And, I mean, that would be a huge fill-in for Milwaukee now that Giannis Antetokounmpo is moving to point guard. Put him in at that 3 slot. I think they're going to have a great offense for the future. Who do you have at number 11, the Orlando Magic selecting?
I have them selecting Henry Ellenson. Now, I think they'd be really happy if Henry Ellenson fell to them here. You could kind of move him and Eric Gordon around, but Andrew Nicholson is definitely not getting it done there. And just to add another good big to the rotation, I think would really help them. Having 3 good bigs in a rotation would be very beneficial here.
Number 11, I have Orlando selecting Jakob Poeltl out of Utah. I think everyone but Aaron Gordon right now is on the trading block. So I think you get Jakob Poeltl, slot him in as the defensive center. Vucevic is all offense. So I think you really just go for best player available here if you're Orlando. Who do you have at number 12, the Utah Jazz selecting?
I have the Utah Jazz selecting Demetrius Jackson, the second best point guard in the draft. Now, Trey Burke and Dante Exum have not proven any ability to lead an offense. Now, I know Dante Exum was hurt, but I think you go with Demetrius Jackson here as a potential to be like highest upside of Damian Lillard, and you desperately need that. And that's why I've been selecting Demetrius Jackson.
Number 12, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Malik Beasley. There's no other player like him on the Jazz right now. He's a 3-and-D wing. There's a few of them sprouted here and there throughout the what?
Malik Beasley doesn't shoot threes, but whatever.
Yeah, he does. He's like a 38%, but whatever. There's no other player like him. He's an athletic 3-and-D wing. Who do you have at number 13, the Phoenix Suns selecting with their second pick in the draft?
I have Phoenix Suns selecting Malik Beasley. Hyper athletic solves the wing issue there perfectly with PJ Tucker being the only one that's really produced. Then you get a hyper athletic swingman in there that really helps their offense.
Number 13, I have the Phoenix Suns selecting Marquise Chris. He has tons of upside. Again, Phoenix is a team that's drafting for upside in this draft. Earlier, I had them taking Jaylen Brown. If they do get Dragon Bender, they're not going to take a power forward at number 13. But since they take a small forward, shooting guard in Jaylen Brown, I have them taking Marquise Chris out of Washington. Very athletic, high upside power forward. Who do you have at number 14, the Chicago Bulls selecting?
I have them selecting Furkan Korkmaz. They need 3-point shooting. They get it here with the best 3-point shooter in the draft. Now, he may not help you in other areas. I think the Bulls with a 3-point shooter could be back into the playoffs next year.
Number 14, I have the Bulls selecting Demetrius Jackson. He didn't go earlier in the draft. I think if Demetrius Jackson falls to Chicago right now, you need to take him. You have a huge need at point guard. Derrick Rose isn't the answer because of his knee issues. Who knows, maybe the front office thinks they still have a little bit left in Derrick Rose. They take a 3-point shooter, but I think Demetrius Jackson is the answer here. Who do you have at number 15, the Denver Nuggets selecting?
I have the Denver Nuggets selecting Marquise Chris. Now, having already gotten Jaylen Brown early in the draft, they can get an heir to the manimal Kenneth Faried, and with high upside, now they get 2 players with very high upside, and that really helps their developing young core.
On number 15, I have the Denver Nuggets selecting Deontay Davis. I think this is a little bit high for him, but I think it's a perfect fit here in Denver. They need a big man. Jokic and Nurkic are really just 2 centers. They don't really have a power forward, so I have them taking Deontay Davis, very high potential out of Michigan State. Who do you have at number 16, the Memphis Grizzlies selecting?
I have the Memphis Grizzlies selecting Diamond Stone here. Now, the reason I have them selecting Diamond Stone is that entire front court is aging, and getting another true center to get a blast of life into that old, injured, often front court. And then I think Diamond Stone really helps keep that grit identity going. Like with all the rebounds, hardcore play that we saw throughout Maryland's season, I think that really helps the Grizzlies.
I think you could definitely argue for center here in Diamond Stone, but I have at number 16, I have Memphis taking Denzel Valentine. He's a do-it-all wing, can shoot three, can pass the ball, he can rebound. Just because he's a senior and he's 22 already, he's going to fall a little bit in this draft, but Memphis should capitalize on the fact that they could get a potential all-star here at number 16. Who do you have at number 17, the Boston Celtics selecting?
I think the Boston Celtics should. Sorry, let me read my notes. Wade Baldwin here. Yeah, Wade Baldwin. Sorry, because now the only reason is I think a lot of those backcourt players on the trade block. Terry Rozier has proven nothing this season, and I feel like getting another player. I think another option actually would be sorry, Denzel Valentine. Sorry, I'm getting choked up because he's a do-it-all wing, as you just said, with the potential to be an all-star. Maybe help solve that superstar issue. I think he can do everything for you. So my updated pick would be Denzel Valentine. Sorry for the misconception.
At number 17, I have Boston selecting Furkan Korkmaz. Like I said earlier in the video, they have a glaring need at three-point. They're 27th in a three-point percentage last year. So I think Furkan Korkmaz definitely solves that. One of the best three-point shooters, if not the best three-point shooter in the draft. Who do you have at number 18, the Detroit Pistons selecting?
All right, the other Detroit Pistons selecting Tyler Ulis. He could be an explosive scorer off the bench for them, what they kind of need. And that's in scoring is what they lacked, really. You can see it against the Cavaliers that they were struggling to score some of those possessions. They might even won like a couple games if they had some scoring, and I think Tyler Ulis helps solve that.
I also have been taking Tyler Ulis. Steve Blake is not the answer at backup point guard right now. You could go power forward here, but I think backup the bench is really your biggest need right now. That starting five almost gets basically all the minutes, all the points. So I think Tyler Ulis can dish it out, get some scoring off the bench. Who do you have at number 19, the Denver Nuggets selecting?
I have the Denver Nuggets selecting Deontay Davis. Now, Deontay Davis has a lot of potential out of Michigan State, and I feel like if the Denver Nuggets pick him up here, now they got Marquise Chris early, but now you get two really good power forwards, and that strengthens up the power forward rotation completely. As you said, they have two centers, no power forwards, and now they get two power forwards, as I think Kenneth Faried will be traded.
On number 19, I have Denver selecting Taurean Prince out of Baylor. You had him taking Jaylen Brown earlier. He fits that defensive three-position need. I think if they don't get him, I think Taurean Prince is definitely their next option. I think he slots in right there off the bench, holding down the defensive anchor. Who do you have at number 20, the Indiana Pacers selecting?
Indiana Pacers, I think, will select Thon Maker. They needed I know they selected Miles Turner, but there's no way to replace the power forwards. I mean, imagine playing Thon Maker as the power forward, an absolute athletic beast. And still loads of potential coming right out of high school. I think this could be a very good future pick for the Indiana Pacers.
I don't think Thon Maker's going to go that high. I think he hasn't really played against great competition yet. I have Indiana selecting Wade Baldwin out of Vanderbilt. George Hill isn't what he used to be. I think Wade Baldwin will solve that need. You could definitely go power forward, slot someone next into Miles Turner, but I think if Wade Baldwin or Tyler Ulis is still available, or even Demetrius Jackson, you definitely have to capitalize on that. Who do you have at number 21, the Atlanta Hawks selecting?
I have the Atlanta Hawks selecting DeAndre Bembry, a bruiser on the wing position, could add some good, much-needed physicality, and maybe could even help, the LeBron James issue that they have to deal with down there in the East.
Yeah, number 21, I have Atlanta selecting Diamond Stone out of Maryland. I think they need to realize that Al Horford is kind of starting to get past his prime. Who knows? They might even might lose him in free agency. I think you get Diamond Stone here. I think he solves your issue with rebounding. They have a great front court. They just need to continue that. Who do you have at number 22, the Charlotte Hornets selecting?
I have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Cheikh Diallo. Now, Cody Zeller is not very good, and if they get Cheikh Diallo, they get loads of potential here. And while their core is still young, they could get another player that could be very good and contribute for them in years to come.
At number 22, I have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Skal Labissiere out of Kentucky. I think, like you said, Cody Zeller's not getting it done. I think Skal Labissiere has way more potential than Cheikh Diallo does at the time, and they're both really about the same level. So I think you have to go Skal Labissiere here. Who do you have at number 23, the Boston Celtics selecting?
I have the Boston Celtics at number 23 here, selecting Steven Zimmerman. Now they get a true center here with this pick, I think, and I haven't addressed that need yet in my draft, and that would really help him here. Scully Olynyk kind of plays power forward and is kind of a tweener.
I have Boston selecting Thon Maker. He didn't really go to college, doesn't have the elite competition to play against. But I think Thon Maker, just based on potential, you already have him. I already have him taking Dragan Bender, but I think Thon Maker, if he's kind of a backup plan behind Dragan Bender. Who do you have at number 24, the Philadelphia 76ers selecting?
I was looking Karis LeVert, a true scorer. As they didn't address the 3-point need. I think he could come in off the bench and really produce for them, and that's exactly what they need here.
Number 24, I have the Philadelphia 76ers selecting a different dual threat guard in DeJounte Murray out of Washington. You could definitely go Karis LeVert, but I think DeJounte Murray has way more potential and doesn't have the injury history that Karis LeVert has. Who do you have at number 25, the Los Angeles Clippers selecting?
I have Taurean Prince falling right down into the Clippers' lap. They need a small forward. They capitalize on it. He's physical. He can score. Was a very good difference maker there for Baylor, and I think he'd be a good pick if he falls to them here.
Number 25, the Clippers selecting DeAndre Bembry out of, I believe, St. Joseph's. He had tremendous stats in college. They'll fit in at that 3 position. Paul Pierce is getting old. They can have a new starter at the 3 with DeAndre Bembry. Who do you have at number 26, the Philadelphia 76ers selecting?
I have the Philadelphia 76ers selecting DeJounte Murray at number 26 here. Now, they get Karis LeVert and DeJounte Murray, and I think they'd be very happy with that, and that would be a dream come true.
Yeah, actually, I haven't getting Karis LeVert here, so I have the same outcome, just different picks here. I think Karis LeVert, if he falls to you at 26, definitely take him. He has the injury history, but he still has potential. If you get DeJounte Murray and Karis LeVert, you can pair him at the 1 and 2, whichever way. Who do you have at number 27, the Toronto Raptors selecting?
Malachi Richardson, I think he could be a very good breath of life. You don't know about DeMar DeRozan. He's almost guaranteed to stay, but if he does leave, you have an insurance policy plus a player you can develop with DeMar DeRozan.
At number 27, I think they also need to go with a wing here just in case DeMar DeRozan leaves or just to develop under him. But I haven't taken Daniel Hamilton out of UConn. He's shown tons of potential during the regular. There's flashes of potential during the regular season. He hasn't really proved himself to be like an elite scorer, but I think he could develop under DeMar DeRozan if DeMar DeRozan stays. Who do you have at number 28, the Phoenix Suns selecting?
I have them selecting Gershon Yabusele, as we said earlier in the draft. They are drafting on potential, and Gershon Yabusele is the definition of potential other than Dragan Bender in this draft. I mean, he got little flashes in France, but you didn't really. When he played, he showed a big, physical rebounder and scorer that would be very beneficial to a Boston team when Amir Johnson leaves.
Number 28, I have Phoenix selecting Cheick Diallo out of Kansas. Like you said, tons of potential. I just don't think a team would go for him around that 20 range. But I mean, Phoenix, they have so many picks in this draft. They can take some shots on some lots of potential players. So I think they just need to go full out front court in this draft, and Cheick Diallo fits the bill. Who do you have at number 29, the San Antonio Spurs selecting?
I've been studying Skal Labissière here. Now, Skal Labissière is an anomaly, tons of potential, but didn't prove much. And if anybody can do something with him, it's the Spurs. Now, imagine getting to learn under your pro comparison with Marcus Aldridge. That would be great, and that would continue the Spurs' legacy. And then when Marcus Aldridge gets old and decrepit and Tim Duncan retires, it opens a spot in the rotation after getting mentored under the Spurs. I think Skal Labissière could be a steal.
At number 29, I have San Antonio selecting Damian Jones. Also another big man with tons of potential. There's a ton of those players in this draft, but I think definitely San Antonio is going to take one of them, just kind of waiting for Tim Duncan to retire, if he ever retires. But I think Damian Jones, learn under the big fundamental. You pick him here at number 29. And who do you have in the final pick of this video, the Golden State Warriors selecting?
I was selecting Wade Baldwin as Sean Livingston is not getting it done as the backup point guard, and Wade Baldwin could learn under Steph Curry, get a ton of mentoring from that really great backcourt, and he could be the point guard of the future and a good backup for them for years to come, as Sean Livingston, as I stated earlier, is probably going to leave this offseason.
At number 30, I have the Golden State Warriors selecting A.J. Hammonds out of Purdue, the block monster. Andrew Bogut, he has a lofty contract, and, he has a rich injury history, so I think you replace him with A.J. Hammonds could definitely fit inside that Warriors lineup, probably get him a ring pretty early in his career. That is it for us today at Sportstorm. Thank you for watching. Like,
comment,
subscribe. Peace.